Iznik, also known as Nietzsche in the West, is rich in history dating back to the period of Alexander the Great, from whom two soldiers had set up base here and created a lasting settlement. 1077, the Seljuk Turks took control of the city and sparked the start of the First Crusades. These ancient walls are well preserved. They measure about maybe 5 to 7 meters in thickness and about 10 to 13 meters in height. They run the course of about maybe 3,100 meters along its length, that is. But really, they stand in good condition. Being in Iznik, we've decided to stop at the most famous tomb. This is the tomb of Ashraf Baba. Now, our chauffeur had insisted that we go ahead and stop here. This is a custom in Muslim cultures, not only in Turkish cultures, but in non-Muslim cultures, to remember the dead, to make dua or make prayer for them. This is what they're doing here. In Muslim cultures, death doesn't necessarily mean the end. It's just a transition into another world. And from it also, life emerges. So there's an emphasis on plants and flowers and color. Death doesn't have to be so bleak. We're at the Iznik Müzesi, in the heart of Iznik, and in here you can find everything that's antique, everything that's antiquated, dating back from the classical ages to the Roman and Byzantine ages, artifacts from the Greek times to even the Seljuk times. Here before me, in a large jug, you have a human who was buried. It was custom to bury the dead in these jugs some 3,000 years ago. If you notice inside also there's a smaller jug that goes along with it. These were typically buried along with the dead person. So really fascinating, really interesting. Iznik is the center of ceramic artistry, stemming back some 9,000 years in history, a tradition that has survived the Roman, Byzantine, and Ottoman empires. Each culture has had its own variants in pasting, glazing, and decorating techniques. Typical Ottoman-style ceramics have a tendency to emphasize the harmony of man, nature, and the universe by showcasing a rich Islamic-inspired Arabic calligraphy, such as here. Floral decors of continuous flows of tulips, carnations, and hyacinth subjects, and brilliant hues of turquoise blue, soft greens, and subtle reds. These ceramic tiles are composed 80% of quartz. Now, a unique feature of quartz is that in the summertime, it keeps things cool, and in the winter, keeps things warm. Ceramic artistry starts here in this room. First, the pieces are cut. Traditional Ottoman-inspired cuttings measure about some 23.5 centimeters on each side. Thereafter, they are plastered. After they are plastered, they are then placed into the oven where they are dried. With careful and elegant brushstrokes, the counters are then drawn into, as we see here. And later the paint is applied. Each person now is designated with a specific finish. We have here a person who's designated with a green finish, or those designated with red and maroon finishes. Designs are prepared by stenciling in motifs onto a thin razor pinhole sheet such as this. Thereafter, they apply a coating of some charcoal powder, placing this over the biscuit and then applying by smoothing it in. It's a very quick process, but it's one of many, and we're not done yet. And of course, every great Byzantine city has its own Hagia Sophia, and Iznik is no different. This Hagia Sophia was built in the 6th century by Justinian I, and in the 8th century had hosted the Second Council. Hallelujah. I'm a singer. And of course, every great Byzantine city has its very own Hagia Sophia, and Iznik is no different. This Hagia Sophia was built in the 4th century, commissioned by Justinian I, and later in the 8th century, it had served as the host of the Second Council. Cool. Olan ne kadar? 2,5. Hepsi.
Yok, bunlar 5 TL, onlar
Ne fark var?
bunların daha böyle boncuklu el yapımı bunlar. Onlardan makineden geçmiş.
This is handmade and this is made from a machine. This here is for about 5 lira. This one here is at 2.5. Do I look Turkish? Do I look Arabic? Do I look Czechoslovakian? They don't even exist anymore. What is this? Also, before the wedding, the bride or the soon-to-be bride and her family would prepare this. A sort of box. Now, it would be a wooden box traditionally, and it would have different slots, and each one would be filled with sandals, soap, towels, and robes. Traditionally, our first motif is this, a typical blossoming flower. Now, typically, the chaste bride, or soon-to-be bride, would take towels with these motifs to her boyfriend's or fiance's house. Over here, we have the traditional tulips. Some say tulips originated here in Turkey, and it served a great purpose during the Ottoman period. These are some of the other traditional motifs or motifs. You have here the rose, tulips, more tulips. Here a little bit more colorful. Of course, you have to have your gold motifs. Very nicely done, intricate details. These are typically handmade, taken about 2 days to get done. this is what a bride would look like typically on her wedding day. You have the motifs here, which represent, you know, some importance from the Ottoman period. The floral decor on it, very nicely done. We're late for dinner. It's time to go in and have something to eat. Right now we're in the kitchen. We're about to see exactly what is involved in making a specialty food. What they are going to prepare is called konak tepesi. What that is, I'm not too sure of, but we'll see in a minute. It's like art here. They're carefully placing lettuce to begin with. In the center, they have a single plate wrapped in aluminum. And again, I wouldn't suggest anyone to ever visit a kitchen. No way. Not unless they want to lose at least 10 pounds. Where did that come from? I think I'm in the way here. Burger? They call it like burger pilau. They have cucumber now around some of the rice mounts. Really artistic here. In the center they have sugar, or that may be thought. I'm not too sure. For the fire. And then flavor comes out. And then flavor comes out. Like a volcano. Abim artist olarak yapıyorsun ya. Maşallah. See that? Despierto. Ah, for the flame. Ateş için. Büyük bir ateş için. Oh. For a small flame. Again, this is konak tepesi. Here we have the basics. We have two kinds of pilau, two types of rice. You have burger. McDonald's. Maydanoz. No, bu pilau. Burger pilau.
Pirinç pilavı, salatalık, limon,
Salatalık, cucumber, lemon, tomato, and the salt for flame. Ateş için. Ah, look at that. You could jump over it. Uh-oh, bak. Food. Yemek. This is all for me, and I'm going to devour it all. Where do I begin? Let's take a vote. Should I start with the kebab? Or should I move on to the patlıcan or the eggplant? This time just to start. Mükemmel. Lezzetli, as he's saying. Great. It's really mouth-savoring. Really good.
Mm-hmm.